When Makoko's demolition began, it was described as a safety measure. But as bulldozers tore through homes, another crisis unfolded, one of alleged rights violations, displacement, and loss of life. Residents and civil society organizations have taken to the streets and press conferences, demanding answers and justice. Groups including Kappa, CHOP, and HOMEF have condemned the demolition as excessive and unconstitutional. Reports from rights groups allege that at least 3 people, including 2 infants and an elderly woman, have died during the demolition operations, with tear gas and forced evictions part of the disputed actions. Thousands have been displaced. Families that once lived in stilt houses now find themselves on boats, in open spaces, or searching for shelter, their livelihoods swept away in days. Community leaders and residents argue the demolition was meant to target only unsafe structures within 30 meters of power lines, a boundary they say was expanded without proper notice. Many say demolition crept well beyond agreed areas. A local youth leader, known to many residents, was reportedly detained after pleading for time for families to retrieve belongings before bulldozers arrived, raising questions about how civil liberties are protected. Rights organizations have called for an immediate halt to all demolition activities, the release of those detained, a transparent investigation into deaths and forced use, and compensation and resettlement for affected residents. Beyond homes and lives, hunger and suffering have taken hold as people seek basic necessities like food, clothing, and shelter amid the destruction. Hundreds marched with signs reading pleas for mercy and appeals to state and national leadership. The focus has shifted from demolition detail to fundamental rights, dignity, shelter, and justice. As Makoko's story spreads, questions remain about how a city can balance safety with human dignity, and what comes next for the thousands who lost their homes. Next, a deeper look at the humanitarian crisis, hunger, health, and education breakdown.
In the weeks after Makoko's demolition, life did not return to normal. It collapsed. What used to be homes became floating debris. What once were houses became makeshift canoes where families now sleep. Hunger grips families as traditional fishing livelihoods are destroyed. Many now paddle for hours daily, scavenging for meager catches or begging for food. The loss of livelihood extends beyond fishing, impacting the entire community's ability to sustain itself. Fishing boats lie damaged, and the polluted waters offer little hope. Health risks are rampant. The lagoon's toxic waters, contaminated with heavy metals and pathogens, breed diseases like cholera and malaria. Education has been severely disrupted. Over 40% of children are out of school due to poverty and instability. The innovative Makoko Floating School, a symbol of hope, was destroyed by fire, further diminishing educational opportunities. Children are often seen in canoes, not for play, but for survival, sometimes even attending makeshift canoe-based classes. Families, once in homes, now face hazardous conditions, cooking on unstable boats, increasing fire risks. NGOs like Amnesty International and Justice and Empowerment Initiatives have issued warnings, urging immediate action. They highlight the dire need for intervention and support for the displaced communities. Healthcare remains out of reach for many, with sick residents facing long, arduous canoe trips to mainland hospitals. These delays in care often prove critical, exacerbating already severe health conditions. Climate change amplifies these risks, with rising sea levels threatening total submersion of Makoko by 2050. The environmental health risks are compounded by the lack of proper sanitation and waste management. This crisis demands urgent attention and sustainable solutions for the resilient people of Makoko.
Makoko, often called Lagos, Venice, or Floating Slum, is a waterfront community on Lagos Lagoon housing up to 85,000 residents in stilt houses built over water since the 19th century, primarily Ijaws and Egan fishermen displaced from coastal areas. The Lagos state government has justified repeated demolition drives since the 1990s as necessary for urban renewal, public health, sanitation, and waterway clearance, citing risks like cholera outbreaks, fire hazards, and illegal structures blocking navigation. Key legal battles center on 2012 to 2013 demolitions under Governor Babatunde Fashola. November 16, 2012, Last kick against indisciplined brigade demolished over 250 shanties in Oto to Waya section without prior notice, displacing 9,000 to 30,000 people. No alternative housing or compensation provided, violating Nigeria's 1978 Land Use Act, 1999 Constitution, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and ICESCR Article 11. Advocacy surged. Justice and empowerment initiatives, led by Bengasessen, filed suit No. ID/938CM/2012 at Lagos High Court. January 10, 2013, Justice Adeni Onigbind issued interim injunction halting further demolitions pending hearing. Despite this, July 2013 saw more raisings. Justice Hakeem Ashidi granted another injunction on July 17, 2013, ordering status quo. Government response. Commissioner Toyin Ayn defended actions as decongestion for beautification and safety, claiming structures built post 1995 revocation notice. LASG argued no fundamental rights breach, as land revoked for public purpose. 2015, Court of Appeal upheld injunctions, fining LASG 10 million naira for contempt. Supreme Court appeal in 2017 dismissed LASG claims, affirming residents' rights, ordered compensation. Serap sued in 2013, winning 2017 ECOWAS court ruling against Nigeria for violations. Ongoing, 2022 threats displaced 200 families. January 2023 partial demolition hit 500 structures. Advocacy by Rhodes Viver, Amnesty, and locals demanding relocation. Numerical impacts: 40,000 plus displaced since 2012, 267 homes razed in 2013 alone, 500 million naira plus economic loss claimed. Concepts: forced evictions as rights abuse, injunctions as temporary relief, accountability via judicial review.
Makoko was once a thriving, floating community, home to thousands. Today, it stands as a symbol of forced displacement and human struggle. After the demolition, families were left with nowhere to go, cast adrift on the waters of Lagos. Thousands of Makoko residents lost their homes. The Lagos state government says the demolition was for environmental and urban safety. But for those affected, the reality is far more painful. Entire families pushed into poverty overnight. Many of them had lived here for generations. With their homes gone, they now survive in unstable conditions, exposed to hunger, disease, and uncertainty. The demolition sparked outrage. Makoko residents organized protests, demanding answers and protection for their homes. They say the government never gave them adequate notice. They say no alternative housing was provided. They say their lives and livelihoods were destroyed without mercy. The Lagos state government defended its actions. Officials claimed the demolition was necessary to prevent flooding, environmental hazards, and illegal construction. They argue Makoko was unsafe, that it posed a risk to lives and the city's waterfront. But critics believe this was less about safety and more about clearing the waterfront for development. Human rights groups stepped in immediately. Organizations like HomeF, Kappa, and Sea Hope warned that the demolition could lead to a massive humanitarian disaster. They say these communities are already vulnerable, and removing their homes without relocation plans only deepens their suffering. Residents have taken the fight to court. They argue that demolishing homes without notice violates their constitutional rights. They want justice. They want compensation. And most importantly, they want the right to exist. Despite everything, Makoko survives. Families rebuild. Fishermen return to the waters. Children keep learning in floating classrooms. Their message is clear: they will not disappear quietly. The future of Makoko hangs in the balance. Will development erase these communities? Or will humanity prevail? Makoko's people are asking for inclusion, not eviction. They want to be part of Lagos' growth, not victims of it. Makoko is not just a slum. It is a living, breathing community. Their struggle is a reminder that progress must never come at the cost of human dignity. Share the story. Let the world hear Makoko's voice. Because development without compassion is destruction.
Module 9. Voices from the Community, Resilience and Hope. Makoko has faced destruction, displacement, and despair. Yet amidst the debris, its people refuse to be erased. This is a story of resilience, ingenuity, and hope. Without waiting for official aid, residents have begun to rebuild. Small shelters rise from the waters, and families improvise with what remains. Community groups organize cleanups and safety measures, ensuring children and elders are protected from polluted water. Education continues, even in the face of adversity. NGOs and volunteers have established floating classrooms, ensuring that children continue learning while their communities rebuild. Creativity thrives in adversity. Families return to fishing, innovate floating markets, and create sustainable small businesses, ensuring a path to survival and growth. Civil society continues to support Makoko residents. NGOs provide humanitarian aid, health education, and community workshops, bridging the gap left by the demolitions. Amid hardship, success stories emerge. Families rebuild stable homes. Young entrepreneurs start small businesses. Children return to school. These stories inspire hope and demonstrate that resilience is not just survival, it's progress. Makoko's residents are not passive victims. Community leaders organize advocacy efforts to ensure their voices are heard in urban planning discussions, demanding inclusion in decision-making processes. Global attention brings support. International organizations and social media campaigns help amplify Makoko's story, generating resources and solidarity from across the world. Plans are underway for a better future. Sustainable housing designs, improved sanitation, and resilient livelihood programs aim to ensure Makoko thrives, not just survives. Makoko is more than a slum. It is a community of resilience, courage, and hope. Every story here reminds us, even in the face of destruction, human spirit finds a way to survive and rebuild. Share Makoko's story. Support their rebuilding. Amplify their voices. Together, we can ensure development never destroys humanity.